My name is Mara Ellison. I am 32 years old and operate a cattle ranch in Grady County, Oklahoma. 3 weeks ago, my barn burned to the ground. I phoned my parents at 2 in the morning. My mother picked up and explained they were attending my brother Nate's birthday dinner. She promised she would call me back. That call never came. 4 days later, they made the 45-minute drive to the ranch. They did not arrive to offer help. They came to insist on half of my grandmother's inheritance, my father Dean leading the demand. Nate received new boots every autumn while I wore hand-me-downs. Nate received driving lessons at 15. Nate's poor grades drew praise. My straight A's earned only another plate of dinner. In my father's house, there were 2 children, yet only one was treated as an investment. When college approached, Dad covered Nate's trade school tuition. Nate quit halfway through. I earned scholarships, gained admission to the agricultural science program at Oklahoma State, and left home on a Tuesday while Dad was at work. My mother tucked $50 into my suitcase and whispered that I must not tell him. Grandma June witnessed all of it. After her husband died in a tractor accident, she ran a 160-acre ranch by herself. Every summer I spent 2 weeks with her. She taught me how to mend fences, manage cattle pens, read weather signs, and keep working when my hands ached. Once, while we repaired a gate hinge, she said my father had abandoned this land because he believed it was beneath him, while I stayed because I understood it was not. I met my husband Colin at a soil workshop. We married at the county fairgrounds beneath rows of folding chairs. Dad's toast focused, as always, on Nate's future. Grandma drew me aside and told me she was arranging to take care of me, though not yet. When she passed away 14 months later, the estate attorney read the trust. The land was left to me. Colin and I moved onto the ranch and rebuilt what we could. Dad never visited. Lana telephoned on Christmas. Nate drove past the gate and never stopped. I told Colin I did not need them to love me. I needed them to stop behaving as if I did not exist. Then the barn fire happened. By the time I reached the yard, the main barn was a sheet of orange against the black sky. We lost hay, equipment, tools, and a freezer full of vaccines. The old safe in the office survived, still bolted to the concrete floor. At 2:14, I called my mother and told her the barn was gone. Music played in the background. She said, "That was terrible, honey, but they were at Nate's birthday dinner. Could she call me back tomorrow?" She hung up before I could reply. The next day she did not call. Neither did Dad. 3 days later, Lana asked whether the insurance covered the buildings on Grandma's land. We examined the papers. The trust was airtight. The deed stood in my name. The insurance belonged to us at last. Dad held no claim, and Grandma had left a sealed envelope for him inside the safe. 5 days after the fire, Nate appeared at the ranch and surveyed the wreckage as if it were salvage. He said Dad believed the land should have been divided 50-50. I told him to instruct Dad to come himself. Nate left without another word. On Saturday, my parents arrived. Dad sat at my kitchen table and declared that Grandma had made a mistake. He insisted the inheritance should have gone to him. I let him speak until the room fell silent. Then I explained that Grandma had met with the attorney 8 times, that the trust could not be altered, and that the ranch and the insurance were legally mine. When he threatened to hire a lawyer, Colin took the envelope from the drawer, placed it in front of him, and said Grandma wanted him to read it. Dad opened it. He read in silence. I watched the color leave his face. Grandma had written, "You chose the easy path over the right one. Nate remained because you made remaining comfortable. Mara left because you made leaving necessary. I did not leave this land to punish you. I left it to the only person who worked it. Love does not mean I owe you what you never earned." Dad's hands began to tremble. Lana read the letter as well and went pale. He called Grandma cruel. I answered that she had been clear. He claimed he had raised me. I answered that he had raised me to believe I was worth less than my brother. Then I opened the door and told him he had received exactly what he had earned. Not the land, not the money, only the letter. They drove away without another word. A week later, the insurance check arrived. We rebuilt the barn in steel and concrete. Nate's store failed. Dad became trapped by the lease he had co-signed. Lana finally mailed me a card saying she had seen me, but only after the damage was finished. I wrote back once, "Say it in front of him or do not say it at all." I carried Grandma's letter to the new barn and framed it beside her photograph. Some families teach you where you belong. Mine taught me to build my own place and keep the key for good.